Most people will never achieve the success they desire due to lack of talent, bad luck, not being born in the right place. What if everything you were told about success was a carefully accepted lie? While some move forward relentlessly, others work just as hard and get nowhere. There is one main reason, and another even more uncomfortable one that almost no one dares to mention. Stay, because understanding this can completely change the way you see your life. From a young age, we were taught that success is a matter of talent. We were told that some are born with a special gift, with superior intelligence, with extraordinary skills that set them apart from the rest. We were also led to believe that luck plays a decisive role, that being in the right place at the right time can change everything. And so, little by little, we built a comfortable narrative to explain why some move forward and others stay behind. But that narrative is an illusion. The uncomfortable truth is that most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they adopt the wrong mindset from the beginning. They believe success is an event, when in reality, it is a process. They expect quick results, immediate validation, external signs confirming they are on the right track. When those signs don't arrive, they get frustrated. And when frustration appears, they quit. The 99% live trapped in that dynamic. They start with enthusiasm, but stop when progress is not visible. They compare themselves to others, look for shortcuts, and expect constant motivation. Without realizing it, they turn waiting into their daily routine. The big lie isn't just that you need talent or luck. The most dangerous lie is believing that success should feel easy if you are truly destined to achieve it. That idea destroys more dreams than any external obstacle. Because success doesn't present itself with applause or bright signs. It is built in silence. It is built when you decide to continue even when no one is watching. It is built when you choose discipline over comfort. And here is where the real difference begins. If the problem isn't talent or luck, then what exactly is it that separates the 1% from the rest? What mindset allows some to persist while others give up? What way of thinking transforms the same resources into completely different results? The answer isn't outside. It's in how you interpret every difficulty, every delay, and every failure. And that leads us directly to the mindset that defines the 1%. The real difference between the 1% and the 99% isn't in circumstances, it's in the way of thinking. While most look for external reasons to justify their results, the 1% adopts a radically different stance. They assume absolute responsibility. When something doesn't work, the 99% ask, why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve it? Why are others moving faster? That mindset places power outside of their control. The 1% instead asks a different question. What can I do better? What part of this depends on me? That simple variation completely changes the direction of a life. The 1% doesn't see failure as a sign of inability. They interpret it as information. Every error is data. Every obstacle is a lesson. They don't feel humiliated by falling. They feel responsible for getting up stronger. While others protect their ego, they protect their progress. There is another silent difference. Most work when they feel motivated. When the emotion drops, their performance drops too. The 1% doesn't negotiate with motivation. They understand that motivation is unstable, but discipline can be constant. That's why they act even when they don't feel like it, even when they are tired, even when no one applauds. Furthermore, the 99% seeks external validation. They need recognition, approval, visible signs of progress. If they don't receive them, they doubt. The 1% learns to move forward without applause. They focus on the process, not the immediate reward. They understand that true growth is often invisible for a long time. There is also a different relationship with time. Most think short-term. They want results now. They want immediate changes. The 1% thinks in years, not days. They know that sustainable success requires strategic patience. They don't despair over slow progress because they understand that compound consistency produces exponential results. None of this is glamorous. There are no hidden secrets. There are no magic formulas. Just a clear mindset, responsibility, discipline, focus on the process, and long-term vision. And when that mindset is combined with something we all have in the same amount, the difference becomes inevitable. Because there is one resource that no one can buy or accumulate more than another. We all have exactly the same 24 hours. The question is, what do you do with them? Do you want me to continue with part three? Every day begins with the same amount of time for everyone. It doesn't matter your origin, your economic level, or your talent. The clock ticks at the same pace. It's 24 hours, not one more, not one less. And yet the results at the end of the years are radically different. Most say they don't have time. That work absorbs their energy. That responsibilities overwhelm them. That fatigue prevents them from moving forward on what they truly want to build. And it's true that life imposes obligations. But the difference isn't in the existence of responsibilities, but in how the remaining hours are prioritized. The 99% use their time reacting. They respond to messages nonstop, consume content without intention, get distracted easily, and postpone what's important because what's urgent seems more comfortable. The day ends and they feel they were busy, but not necessarily productive. They were active, but not strategic. The 1%, on the other hand, understands that time is the most valuable asset. They don't treat it as something infinite. They protect it. They organize it. They invest it. They know that small daily decisions, repeated over years, generate a gigantic difference. One focused hour each day improving a skill may seem insignificant today, but multiplied by months and years, it becomes an advantage hard to match. It's not about working without rest. It's about intention, about consciously deciding where to invest mental energy. While some consume entertainment automatically, others study, train, and plan. Not because they are superior, but because they have decided that their future deserves priority. Time reveals real priorities, not motivational speeches. What you do when no one forces you defines your destiny more than any plan you declare out loud. And here an uncomfortable truth appears. Many people don't fail due to lack of ability, but due to lack of focus. It's not that they lack potential. It's that they fragment it in too many directions. The 1% simplifies. They choose fewer goals but dedicate total focus to them. In the end, time doesn't stop to wait for anyone. Every lost day doesn't return. Every well-invested day accumulates silently. And that accumulation depends on something even more decisive than organization. It depends on what you do when no one is watching. There is a moment of the day when there is no applause, no recognition, and no external pressure. A moment when no one will know if you followed through or if you failed. It is in that invisible space where the 1% is truly built. Most act well when they are being observed, when there is supervision, when there are external expectations, when the possibility of receiving approval exists. But when the gaze of others disappears, so does the commitment. They allow themselves small excuses, minimal concessions, seemingly harmless decisions that, accumulated over time, erode any progress. The 1% works differently. They understand that discipline is not a public demonstration, but a private practice. It doesn't depend on motivation or social pressure. It is a decision repeated even in solitude, even in fatigue, even when no one will celebrate the effort. That is the part that almost no one wants to hear. Success is not exciting in its initial phase. It is repetitive. It is silent. It is monotonous. It consists of doing the same thing over and over, with consistency, without immediate results. And that repetition wears down those who expect constant emotions. The 99% quit because they seek intensity. They want to feel visible progress. They want quick results to validate the effort. When they don't get them, they interpret the lack of immediate reward as a sign that something isn't working. And then they change direction, start again, and disperse. The 1% remains. They understand that real progress is cumulative, that often breakthroughs are invisible for months, that the body and mind transform in silence before the world notices. There is also another crucial difference. Most negotiate with themselves. It's okay if I rest today. I'll make up for it tomorrow. One time doesn't change anything. The 1% knows that an isolated action might not seem important, but identity is built through repeated patterns. It is not what you do once that defines you, but what you do constantly. Discipline doesn't mean extreme rigidity. It means consistency. It means aligning your daily actions with the person you want to become. When no one is watching, That consistency reveals your true level of commitment. And although discipline is the engine, there is something more that determines if that consistency is maintained over time. It has to do with the relationship you have with discomfort. Because growing always requires leaving what's comfortable. Growth never occurs in absolute comfort. Never. And yet most organize their lives around avoiding any form of discomfort. They avoid rejection, avoid extra effort, avoid the risk of failing publicly. They prefer the security of the known, even if the known doesn't bring them closer to the life they desire. The problem is that the comfort zone is not a neutral space. It is a place where progress slowly stops, where skills do not develop, where confidence does not expand. Staying there too long doesn't protect your future, it limits it. The 1% understands that discomfort is a sign of growth. If something is difficult, they don't interpret it as a warning to retreat, but as an indication that they are expanding their limits. Every uncomfortable conversation, every challenging project, every public mistake becomes mental training. While the 99% seeks to reduce effort, the 1% seeks to expand their capacity. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand that personal expansion always involves moving through uncertainty. There is a truth that few accept. Fear doesn't disappear before acting. It decreases after acting. In waiting to feel total security before moving forward is a trap that keeps most in the same place for years. Leaving the comfort zone doesn't mean taking irresponsible risks. It means accepting that improvement requires tension. It requires trying things for which you don't yet feel completely prepared. And when you combine the right mindset, strategic use of time, constant discipline, and tolerance for discomfort, something inevitable happens. Your direction changes. But all of this depends on a decision that is made every day. In the end, it all comes down to a decision that is repeated every day. It's not a spectacular or dramatic decision. It's not a cinematic moment that changes your life from one instant to another. It's a silent, almost invisible choice to act or to postpone, to move forward or to justify, to build or to get distracted. Most wait to feel absolute clarity before committing. They wait for an external sign confirming they are on the right path. But that sign rarely arrives. And while they wait, time moves on. The 1% doesn't wait for perfect conditions. They decide to act with the information they have. They understand that action generates clarity, not the other way around. Every small step creates momentum. Every consistent day strengthens the identity of someone who follows through on what they set out to do. It's not about transforming your life in a week. It's about maintaining a steady direction for years. Because success is not the result of an explosion of effort, but of a constant accumulation of correct decisions. Every day you have two options. You can choose immediate comfort or you can choose long-term progress. You can protect your current state or you can invest in your future version. Nadie puede tomar esa decisión por ti. Nadie puede obligarte a usar mejor tus 24 horas. Nadie puede imponer disciplina cuando nadie está mirando. The difference between the 99% and the 1% isn't in what they know. It's in what they do repeatedly. And when that repetition is maintained long enough, the results cease to be a possibility. They become an inevitable consequence. You don't need extraordinary talent. You don't need exceptional luck. You don't need perfect conditions. You need the right mindset, absolute responsibility, constant discipline, and the courage to step out of your comfort zone over and over again. The question is no longer whether it's possible to reach the 1%. The question is whether you are willing to pay the daily price it demands. Because the clock keeps ticking, the 24 hours will return tomorrow. And the only thing that really matters is what you will decide to do with them.